All right. Welcome back to another episode of 12 Summers with two of my favorite guests, Mr. Hoover and Mr. Lee. Welcome. Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So this is our second podcast with each other. I just sent you guys the first one that we did. It was published yesterday.
Nice.
So I listened to it this morning. It was a lot of fun. Yeah.
We'll continue that.
Yes, we'll continue that. Yeah, that was the podcast I had the most fun with, because we held the right context. Mr. Hoover has an update on his current family. He's expecting a new child. It's coming out these few days, right? Like, are you guys?
Well, in a matter of any day to within a few weeks.
Okay, got it.
She's trying to hold off for a little bit longer so that she can set up her ideal birthing situation, but it's around the corner.
Okay.
Yeah.
Congrats,
man. How are you feeling around having a second one to your family?
In theory, it sounds great. I'm excited, but then I keep having, friends, are you there, saying, anyway, I'm looking forward to it. And
finish the previous sentence. We're curious.
Yeah, so I remember you told me once, you thought, having a second child, it's probably only like 30% harder or something like that. You remember that?
Yeah.
And then it's not even close to that percentage.
No, it's not. Yeah. I thought, we've done this before. I mean, certain things are a lot easier, for sure.
Okay.
Certain things are easier, but certain things are.
And how far are they going to be apart? Like 3 years or 2 years?
2.5 years.
2.5 years. That's a perfect time. Right?
Yeah, that's pretty perfect.
Yeah. My kids are 9 and 7, so they're two and a half years apart as well. Pretty much 2.5 years apart. And I thought I had it all down with the first one. Shit, the second one came. It was starting all over again. I'm like, what the fuck do I do? Oh god. But it was
my excitement level just went down about 10%. I mean, I know the nice thing is,
learn to enjoy it, man. I miss those. Truly miss it, man. 9 and 7 right now already. Shu, how old are yours now?
Mine are 4.5 and 1.5. They're 3 years apart. Yeah.
I do envy you gentlemen, I'll tell you.
Hey, you still in the 12 summers?
Oh, I'm still in it.
You're still in the 12 summers. Yeah.
Well, there's one of them right here. Since you lock the door, do I?
Hey, you're brushing your teeth. That's awesome.
Finally,
that's one of the most important discipline.
Yes, absolutely.
Do you floss? Do you floss, little man? No? Okay.
Sometimes.
Ask your father about flossing.
Hey, do me a favor. Go watch your brother, okay? Come on. Close the door. I'm gonna lock you out now.
Excuse me. You were saying something, Hoover.
I was, but I will never say it again. It's interesting. You remind me of one of the first disciplines Boundaries. I'm gonna lock you out now, son. That's important. You're locked out right now. You got a boundary.
Yeah, that's for sure.
What I was gonna say was something about, even though there's a lot of work ahead of me, I'm grateful and confident that I've got tools and I've got my men in my life and I've got, a community around me and my family to support me. So whatever happens, I'm prepared. Like, yes, there'll be some long nights, but I'm up for it.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
You've been training your whole life for this moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. And you're lucky because you have a fresh 12 summers to begin with. I have the other one. I have 7 left. The other one I have 10 left. Lee has even less.
Even less.
Even less. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm towards the end of it, and I could feel it. I could see it. First of all, the kissing on the lips, the hugging. That's more of, usually I have to go, give me a kiss now. Get over here and give me a kiss. Give me a hug. It's pretty much like that now. It's all forced, pretty much. Before.
It'll happen for everyone.
Yeah, and I'm already kind of feeling it. At least they're still, even if I use some sort of force, they still do it. But I can feel it. I can feel it. That's where that's why I'm so excited for you, man, and especially for you, Hoover, one coming out. That's amazing, man. I heard it kind of reminds me of what somebody told me. There's 3 types of parents. The first one is those who don't know what a parent is, how to be a parent, or something like that. Don't know what parenting is, and those I just feel bad for. Then there's the second one where they know it and they're doing their best to enjoy it, like myself. And the third one is those who have known, and I'm still going through that part of it where they kind of look back and they're going, like what my dad's going through, my dad's going through it. He's sitting back and telling my mom, and my mom tells me that he shouldn't have worked so hard. He never really enjoyed, because he came to America and all he was doing was just working every type of job out there that anybody could ever do to get started in America, to produce the life that we have now for us. So he's kind of going through that, and in a little sense, I'm kind of going through a little bit of that, because like we were just talking about, my kids are kind of, being forced to kiss me and hug me instead of doing it on their own accord now. So I envy you, brother, and proud of you, man. Both of you.
Yeah. It's yeah, doesn't last forever. Yeah. Do they still listen to you?
Very rarely, but yes, they still do now. They listen to the mom more.
Yeah.
I'm more of a, they know what they can't break with me as far as the boundaries. But aside from that, they'll just push it to the edge and they'll just have fun, and I just let them have fun. I only see my job right now as just enjoying them as much as possible. That's really my only goal and my only ambition right now, is to enjoy them for the next 3 to 5 years, before they want nothing to do with me.
That shall come.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I don't think it's they don't want to have anything to do with you. It's just, you know, they were like what Hoover said, they're gonna start to set up their own boundaries so they can start becoming the man they always wanted to be.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do that without boundaries. And if I remember when I was younger, like sometimes what it looks like is to say no to everything the parents suggested, right? Because when they don't know what their boundaries are, or when I don't know what my boundaries are, sometimes the best thing feels like to do is just to say no to everything. So I can set up my boundaries. I can no, even though something might be good for me, right? And I would say no because that's what I think I was setting up my boundaries as a young kid, right? So I don't think there's any wrong with it, but that's coming.
Yeah, no, and I fully understand that there's nothing wrong with it. This is a process that they're going through to be young men, to become the men they want to be when they grow up, right? And without that rebellion and without that independence and exploring the worlds and their boundaries and pushing my boundaries, they're not going to grow up to be men. So I fully understand that. It's just still, you know, as a parent, I still got to keep that in the back of my mind, but also kind of hurts, man. Kind of hurts.
It's a very tough time for older dads, I think. And like you said, you can go through it consciously or unconsciously, you know, like some dad is like, oh, what the hell happened? You were this sweet kids and now you're this little devil that just say no to everything I propose or try to teach you. No, because during that time it's a different phase, right? And we all went through that. And the men who didn't went through that, they just never get to grow up.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, but for the fathers, I think even like I have talked to many fathers, even for the fathers who knows that, it's still hard.
Yeah,
like they know my son is gonna go through this phase or my daughter's gonna go through this phase. It's still fucking difficult.
yeah,
It's still fucking hard. It's not easy, you know. Even I know, yes, they're supposed to do that, but it's never easy. But on the other side of it is at the completion of that phase, you know, hopefully there will be a whole new relationship between your son and you.
yeah.
And that will be just as rewarding.
Yeah, and yeah, you got to go through that phase. Like you said, you got to complete it. My dad's regretting it now, according to my mom, and I can kind of see it. He's putting all that energy into his grandkids. When he does see them, it's nothing but just playfulness and yeah, being a grandpa, right? Being a grandpa. So
Yeah.
I love seeing that. He was really never really playful with my brother and I. It's always work, and go make money and all that. And you know what? Growing up, I never really said, "Oh my God, my dad doesn't spend time with me." I fully saw his heart where it was. My brother and I both, and you know, loved him for it, respected him for it, tremendously still. So, and now I get to tell him I love you, Dad, and I'm proud of you, Dad, and you know, you can see the joy in his face.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Just go give your dad a kiss on the lips and see how he reacts.
You know what, man?
Force it if you have to.
You know what? I'm migrated from here to here, and it's getting closer. It's getting I'm priming him.
You're making progress.
Yeah. So at the beginning, when I had my men, when I went through the men's weekend, and I made a habit of telling him every time I see him that I was proud of him. I mean, he just fucking melted, right? You see the toughest man in the world just melt, and that was the best thing I could ever give him, and it was one of the best things I ever did for him. And then I remember the first time I kissed him on the forehead.
Man, for Asian dad, I completely understand, man.
Like, to be honest, but you know, I just told him I love him. Thank you, Dad. So proud of you, and so proud to be your son. And you know, now it's migrating down here, like full on smack on here, and he just hugged me back, and you know, now he's sneaking a little side kiss now. But so I'm sure when he gets a little older, it's probably gonna come. It's probably gonna come.
I see. Amazing.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, you're the perfect example. Like, you're on the other side of that rebellious phase, right? And now you're giving back to your dad.
Yeah.
He gets to be a proud father, knowing that his son has made it in this life. So,
yeah,
right? That's beautiful.
Absolutely. Yeah. I went down to LA to basically rebel, and to discover myself, and become, be a full-fledged knight and explore the world, and become a prince and a king. And that's where I'm at now, is being a king. And it's
Amazing.
a beautiful thing, man.
Yeah, my since Hoover has a daughter, and I think the daughter and father relationship might be a little different. I don't know what it's like, because I never went through that myself. But I, like, my wife, she still hugging kisses her dad, and I love it when I first had my interaction with my father-in-law, with my wife, and when I saw she hug and kisses him, I'm like, oh, this is beautiful. This is amazing relationship that they're having, and just it's very natural for her to do that too. And I was like, that's the woman I want to be with.
Is it more natural because, is it more special because she's Asian and you're Asian?
No, I think how many like, I don't know how many grown women still hug and kisses their dad. I don't know.
Just having a healthy relationship with her father is a great indication of what you're in store for. That's one of the things a lot of men look for, is like, does she have a good relationship with her father? And if she doesn't, it just means it's gonna be more work. But if she does, like,
for sure. Yeah. And my mom, I think this might be an Asian thing. I don't know if it's. Um,
I'll let you know.
My mom, when I first introduced my son, not first introduced, like when they like start interacting and talking, and my mom will say to my son like, "Oh, I really like you. Like I really like you." I'm like, "What do you mean I like?" I'm like, "What do you mean you like? You love him. Like you think about him like every day. All you talk about is like you love him. Like why are you saying like I like you? It's like you love him. Just tell me I love you, right?" And there's such a barrier for my mom to say that because she never said that to me when I was younger, right? And I totally get it because her father never said I love you to her, right? But now she's like, I love you. Like she calls my son and my daughter, I love you like all day long. You know? So they're making progress, just like Lee's father is. Okay, Hoover, tell me if it's an Asian thing.
Yes.
Yes. What?
I don't know. But what's the impact that you're aware of, if any, when a parent doesn't say, I love you?
Like I think the language is powerful, right? When you put things in the words, it carries certain energy. And for the for the child who doesn't get to feel I love you, they just don't get that energy. Period. You have to kind of figure it out yourself. Like, oh, I think my dad loves me because he bought me all these books. I think.
Yeah.
I think my mom loves me because she just beat the shit out of me for something I did. I think she loves me. um, I think they love me because, you know, they did this and that. But it's different than, oh, they just told me they love me. They must love me. Or just feel the energy coming in. Like when you tell someone like, I love you, you just don't feel the words only. You feel the energy. And that energy is empowering, is healing, is comforting. And when the parents don't say that, the kids just don't get that energy. Instead of that energy, they might get like the don't do that energy, you know, why did you do that energy? I'm disappointed energy, right? At the same time, you're not getting the I love you energy. All those other energy are coming in. And yeah, it's,
You know,
it's different.
it's different, but also in what I've seen since I am Asian, what I've seen is growing up. My mom was the only mom I've ever seen out of all my aunts and all the other Hmong parents out there that said I love you every day and I love you all the time. And she would kiss me and my brother all the time, every day. And I remember we would have a family gathering, and my brother and I would not hesitate to just snuggle with my mom and just kiss her and just give her the biggest, deepest kiss, even when we were teenagers. And I remember growing up, all my aunts always goes, "That's disgusting. You guys are already almost adults, or why are you still kissing?" Right? Like something is wrong. And I don't think there's necessarily anything wrong with how they perceive it as well, because I think Asians are more motivated more by the showing love through duty, you know, through providing for their kids and through being there for the kids and just duty more than showing or saying. From what I've seen, I mean, a lot of my we were the only one, and a lot of my cousins. I would ask them these questions too. These questions like, "Do you feel loved?" And they're like, "Yeah, we feel loved. Yeah, I'll mom and dad try hard. I know they don't do like you guys, kissing all the time, back and forth, every day. You know, and because of that, my dad says I love you a lot. Normally, he's a very reserved person. He'll never really say it, but because my mom does it all the time, then it became nothing. We'd always say I love you. We would never kiss like we do now, but yeah, it was. I think it's more about a duty thing with Asians than the actual saying of "I love you."
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I definitely felt I was safe, I was taken care of, and I was loved, you know. But just missing out on that energy, you know. I'm saying it's wrong or bad. It's just different.
Yeah, it's different.
You know.
Well, my wife, my father-in-law, and my mother-in-law, they never said "I love you" to her. Growing up, she never heard the word "I love you," and then she meets somebody like me, and that's probably part of the destiny of why she had to come to a whole different country to meet me and find me so intriguing. Is because I mean I was the first one. I was actually the first one to say "I love you," and I had no problem with that. When I felt loved, I told her I loved her, and she had that awkward moment on the phone. I love you. And it took
the proper Asian response is "thank you."
Well, I'm thinking about, when did he tell her? Like, was this a first date? You know, like we're not even together yet.
Yeah.
I could just say, "I love you, girl."
That might have been it too. That might have been it, now that I think about it.
But what's wrong with? I mean, it's such an awkward thing, right? Like you see that in the movies and TV. Like people say like, "I love you" on the first day, and everyone's like, "Urgh." What like if we have to dissect it, what do you think that's weird, Hoover? What's going on there?
I think that there's exceptions to the rule. Like you could just meet someone and just feel this real powerful affinity, and love is the only word that explains it, and it's just magical. But that's rare, and we've got a lot of our ego engaged, and so we're not able to get to the truth of what's really going on. So a lot of times people play games and they don't believe that what's occurring, it may be too good to be true. They might be afraid of rejection. They might be afraid of getting played. I think there just might be fear of being vulnerable and letting them know, like, I'm feeling this. And can you say "I love you" to someone and not be prepared to stay with them for the rest of your life? There's implications. Once you say "I love you," it means we're going to be in a long-term relationship. So those are just a few considerations with saying "I love you" early on.
Beautiful. Yeah, it covers a lot of different aspects of it. It's amazingly good. How about you, Hoover? Do you grow up with what do you grow up with? "Thank you" or "I love you"?
I got "I love you." I got a lot of "I love you."
Yeah. Yeah, we make sure our children grow up with that. Like just the other day, my son was, like he's like 4 and he talks to himself or talks to the air, and he was just like talking and he was just repeating like, "Oh, I love my grandma, I love my grandpa, I love my grandpa on my mom's side. On my, you know, just repeat. I love my sister. I love my dad. I love my mom. And at the end, he said, I love myself. I love myself very much. And I was like, I wasn't interrupting him, but I was like, wait, who taught you that?
Yeah, where did he learn that?
Yeah, where did you learn that from? You know, like we never tell him like love yourself.
He probably walked in on you doing affirmations in the mirror.
I love myself. I love you. I adore you. No, he number one is not in my affirmation. And
But do you love yourself?
I do. I do. Thank you for checking.
Yeah.
And I tell myself thank you after I say I love you.
It's very important to say thank you, of course.
It's very important to follow up with I love you with a thank you. Yeah. But and I was just amazed by what I saw. And I think he's getting the energy that he's loved. And I think people who has that, like kids, especially kids who has that, has a like certain advantage when they are facing with or they're faced with obstacles or challenges, or even like fat person. You know, I was watching like a documentary about like child predators the other day, and there was this FBI agent. He infiltrated like a group of, you know, of such circle, and he said he's been there for like many years, and he's in such a like higher up position because he does writing and marketing for them. He pretends to do that for them. And he said during all the time he spent there, they will target, you know, those people. They will target young children, like young boys, basically. And they were never successful with a boy with a strong father figures at home. You know, like when they feel protected and loved, they were never successful. Yeah, that was the point of this horrible story. Really, I mean, I hate even talking about it. But it's kind of like reaffirms that like we're doing an important job, right? Like it's not about teaching your kids martial arts to protect themselves. I mean, that's important too, but actually the best thing we can do for them is just to be a good father, and that naturally protects them because they get that.
I'm getting that through loving them, they're going to have greater self-worth, and so they're not going to tolerate a predator coming up. You know, like they're not going to be as, like, they know their self-worth, and they're going to have a level of confidence, martial arts or not, because they know they're loved. Yeah. They're not going to seek that elsewhere outside of themselves.
Yeah. Yes.
I agree.
Perfectly said. Yeah. And that's yeah, like having young kids, you know, and you know, as a father, like what I care about for them is their safety. You know, safety is one of the top concern. So when I saw a message like that, I was like, yes. It's like I can do something about it.
Right.
I can do something about that. And that's empowering for me. Yeah. Otherwise, it's, you know, it's like, what do we do? You know,
because we have to let them out in the world, you know. So how can we
eventually?
Eventually, and
this is what we do. We are that strong, powerful father for them. have their back, tell them that, show them that we love them. That might be the best gift for them to be safe. So
Absolutely, I
right.
agree. Even when you're, I remember, you know, some really stupid moments in college, and I mean not all of them, but some of them, it actually came across my head. Would my dad be proud of me? You know, and that got me out of a couple of things, but you know, obviously, it didn't stop me from many other things. But hey, that might have been what saved me, why I'm still here.
Mm.
Because there's been many moments where I should not have been here.
Mm. Mm.
And I didn't do it because I thought, you know, would my dad be fucking proud of me, man?
What's an example?
Make sure it's been 30 years.
Yeah, this is
That's right.
recording. This is recording, so you can't really do that. I was on the FBI's most wanted list for real, one time. So I don't want them to get any more evidence on me.
Okay, that's fair.
Yeah. But that is a real story though.
Yeah, we'll talk about it once the recording stops.
Yeah.
Well, can you talk about how did you get on the list? Because they already know that, right?
Oh well, because
You must have been really good at something.
well, apparently there was a guy by the name of that was Taiwanese actually, with the same name, Kao Lee, and same birthday, that smuggled a bunch of people from Canada through Las Vegas. And I found this out because I had to go to Canada to
Oh shit.
basically first time I was ever out of the country, when I graduated Long Beach State, and my wife, my girlfriend at the time, which is my wife, we were getting pretty serious. So I said, you know, I'm going to do the respectable thing and go say hi to her father and meet their family and kind of tell them what's going on. So I got to Canada just fine, right? It's been a week there, hung out, got to know the family, and then before we got back, she got the smart idea of saying, "Hey, I'm gonna move down there in a couple months, anyways, or like 6 months, and live with you, anyways. But I don't want to pack too much, and you have a big luggage, so here, take a bunch of my clothes, right?" So she stuffed most of my luggage with a bunch of fluffy, lacy stuff, underwears, and a few handcuffs and some other stuff, right? A bunch of panties and bras, and then I get to the airport. I get to the airport and they look at my ID, and they go, "We're gonna need you to come over here, sir." And I get stuck in the interrogation room for 4 hours before anybody came, and I missed my flight, obviously, and then I got interrogated for so long, like the whole freaking day. At the end of it, I really thought I did smuggle some people through. They're like, "What is your name?" I'm Kao Lee. What are you? I'm Hmong. Are you sure you're not Taiwanese? I'm like, last time I checked, I was not Taiwanese, you know? And then they're like, "Have you been to Las Vegas?" I go, "Of course."
Oh, no.
Time, right? Just like an idiot, didn't know. And it got to the point where they go, "Son, this is really serious. You're in serious trouble." I'm like, what did I do? Right? First of all, you know, it's a felony to say that you packed your bags, but let other people pack your bags for you, right? And I'm like, this is my stuff. So referring to the suitcase, I'm like, this is my stuff. I mean, my girlfriend gave it to me. You know, I was gonna leave her for a while, so I missed her, and I took all this fun stuff. So I missed that flight. Finally took a flight to Vancouver. Of course, they got me over there too. Interrogated me for a little while too. I told them the whole story, and then after a while, the next day, a full 48 hours later, I finally got back. And every time after that, I went to Cancun. I went back to Canada to visit. They always interrogated me, always. And so turns out I asked one of the guys that was interrogating me at the finally after years. I said, "What the hell is going on? Well, you guys won't tell me anything. I keep getting stranded. I have to write this whole letter and this whole with witnesses and everything, and just of every single time, and I give it to you and you read it, and I still get interrogated, right?" Mm. And the guy actually pulled me aside and said, "Hey, I've been there. You're on the FBI's most wanted list. There's a guy with your same name and same birthday that is still out there. That's why you're going to get this done no matter what if you go out of the country. Every time you come back, it's going to happen. So prepare all your paperwork. You could pay for a lawyer tens of thousands of dollars, but in my case, it happened to me. It didn't do anything unless that guy gets captured, right? So all of a sudden, like 5-6 years later, I go and there's no there's no like that anymore. They just let me through every time now. So they probably got him, but I was on the FBI's most wanted list.
I'm curious, when you missed your flight and then it's 4 hours later, did they ever upgrade you to first class?
Oh, no. Customs has nothing to do with the airlines. That's what they told me. I was like, you guys help me here. And well, we're customs. And when I went to the airline, I was like, customs helped me. Well, they have nothing to do with us, sir.
Wow.
I had to put it all on the credit card. Yeah.
Yeah, they don't. They're two separate systems.
Two systems. But yeah. I don't want to give them any more evidence. That's going back to my college days.
I hope they caught the guy. Yeah.
Apparently they did, because I don't get harassed anymore.
Let's see. Coming from Canada to Vegas. Interesting.
Yeah. Taiwanese too.
Wow. They probably just smuggled some Asian students really want to study. That's what I hope.
Yeah, right.
How did we get here, man? I was
talking about being a good father while in college.
Yes. Oh, yes.
A couple times. It saved me a couple of times.
Yeah, and I see that. I'm with you on that. It just, there are a few times in my life where, like, it saved me from a couple of a bad decision, because what Hoover said is the self-worth thing, right? It's like, I think I'm better than that. I think I'm a little better than that. You know, like, yeah, that sounds like kind of fun, but I think I'm better than that, man. So I just like, and I think that's, if you add like hundreds of those decisions together, it really will separate a man on the two different paths, right?
Yeah, it's a double-edged sword though, because I've been presented with situations and I was like, I deserve that.
Yeah, for me, it was, a lot of it was, I didn't want to embarrass my dad, right? I didn't want to embarrass my parents, number one, but particularly my dad, because I looked up to him like a hero. This quiet, doesn't talk much, but just the hardest working, just does what he says, what he's gonna do. Just the most amazing hero I have, and I just didn't want to embarrass him or come up short. That's most of my motivation in life is to do better than him. I think I said that in the last podcast. Was my brother and I often growing up often, and even to this day, my brother's a doctor in Santa Barbara, right? And I'm an established, sales professional and businessman, blah, blah, blah. And we still, when we get together, we still go, we better do some more, because this guy who has no education is probably going to end up being more successful than us. We still have that conversation to this day. I mean, he's set a life for himself. He's comfortably retired. And we still have this conversation where, dude, we need to still pick up our game. We can't relax, because that dude's going to end up being way more successful than we ever were, So it still drives me to this day.
What's interesting hearing you talk about your father is, at first it started with, he didn't have that much time to play with us, and, he kind of regrets that now, but it was no problem to you, and it seemed to have worked out. And, we strive to be the best father we can, and that's like a big deal to be able to play with your kids. And even though you didn't have that, you still got a tremendous amount of values and respect for your father. So it leads me to ask, what is fatherhood to you men? Because it's not you play with your kids, it's not this or that. It seems like there's something more to it.
That's such a great question, man.
Yeah. Why don't you go first?
I asked first.
No, God, that's such a great question, man. And I still ask myself that question every day. But like what you're saying, Drew, it's at least now I have the knowledge. I have the men in my life that I can look up to. I have my fathers to look up to. And I still ask that question. It's not just about playing with my kids. It's about spending time with them and enjoying them. So and I analyze this, and I ask myself this question seemingly every day. Where, as we talked about, I'm kind of consciously, unconsciously, whatever you want to call it, but I'm consciously going through fatherhood with my kids right now, before they turn 12 or teenagers. And then I'm consciously in that space where I'm learning finally how to be a great son as well to my father.
Well, I'm getting it's a conscious act. That's one element of it.
Yeah. I still ask that question every day. So I ain't gone forever, but I'm still working it out.
True.
Good answer. I've been thinking about this question because of this podcast. And the way I look at it is, and we agree on this, is like being a good father is not just about what you do with your kids, right? It's not like, oh, I built Lego with my kids, or I take them out for bicycle rides, I play with them. I mean, that's one of the elements, but that's not it. That's not even 10% of it, in my opinion, right? Because obviously Lee's father never did that with him, but I mean, how fucking amazing a father he is to you, right? Like, and the respect and love you have for him didn't come from him playing with you. It's really coming from him setting a example. And the way I look at it is like being a father is like being a pilot. You're not a good pilot when you're just flying the flight, right? Being a good pilot like 24 hours a day. Like when you're not flying the flight, you must get a good rest. You must exercise. You must eat well. You must not drink before the flight, right? There's a lot of things to do before you fly for you to be a good pilot during the flying time. And you must study new materials and get new skill sets. Like when have you guys ever watched the movie Sully?
Sully?
The pilot who landed the flight on the Hudson River.
No,
I
that's the Denzel Washington one.
Right. No, that one I like the Sully one better. Yeah. Well, one because it's a real story.
Yeah,
it's a true story, and it happened on my birthday. And I remember many years ago when I was flying, I was traveling, selling, and I was on a flight. I think JetBlue, and I was watching the screen playing news that a flight was landed on the Hudson River. And you feel like, oh, you land a flight on the river, no big deal. Then you watch the movie, you understand how big a deal it is, because very few pilots actually, like the chance of them for a safe landing with no one dying is very low, right? And how he handled it before, during, and after, like you get this guy is a motherfucker. He's a hero, right? And he's not a hero for just that moment. He's a hero before that happened, but because of the incident, he's able to bring out his herohood or his badass, in that moment. Like he's a badass in his whole life. We just never get to see it because it never get to be revealed. But because of that incident, both engine failed. I think it was bird strike, right? And the tower was like guiding him to land it at a certain airport, and he's just like, there's no way to make that, because they had no clue. There's like, oh, land it there. It's like, no, there's no way. So he just made the decision to land it on the river, and it was a bold decision, right? Anyway, watch that movie. You're gonna love it. You're gonna totally get it. And what I got from that is that's like being a father, right? It's not about what you do with your kids when you're with them. It's about what we do, when we wake up early in the morning. They're not up, right? But that energy carry out through the day, right? And if you say practice yoga, you practice martial arts, right? They don't see you do that, or they do, but it doesn't matter. But you carry that energy with you. So when you're with them, they feel maybe the calm energy, the confident energy. When they say fuck something up, right? When they break something, you don't get emotional. Some fathers get emotional and hit them. That makes a huge difference, right? But it's not at the moment that happens matters. It's because what you did when you're not with your kid, when we are not with our kids, we're calm. We know what we're doing. We're conscious of who our being is. So when we are with our kids, it makes a huge difference. That's my take. I'm still figuring out the answer, but
I love that.
My take on it.
I love that. It's kind of like everything, right?
Yes.
It's that singular moment of him being that hero is what we saw, but he was already a hero in everything else that he did.
Yes.
I love that analogy. I love that story, man. That's good.
Yeah, watch that movie. My intention is one day I'll interview Mr. Sully. Yeah, just a great man. I was in tears. watching that movie. Just how big of a hero he is, like how much compassion, how calm. Because even though he saved everyone's life, afterwards everyone was pointing finger. It's like, why the fuck did you land the flight on the river? You were jeopardizing everyone's life, right? And they used all the simulations. Like, we did all the simulation. You could have landed the flight. And you saw how him stay calm and collected and kind to everyone around him during that time. He wasn't like defensive. He wasn't pissed. I mean, he was stressed. You can tell. I mean, it's affecting him. But he was just still that hero, compassionate, calm, collected, rational. You know, I mean, give me fucking chills even to talk about it. Just that's the man I want to be.
Yeah.
You know, just.
Well, what I'm getting from that story is that in order to be the father you always wanted to be, there's preparation. And it starts with, you know, taking care of ourselves, getting up in the morning, getting your workout in, doing whatever it is you do to be the man you always wanted to be. That influences being a father. And a father isn't just tasks. Okay, it's family time. Well, how are you going to be during that family time if you're not rested? If you haven't been taking care of yourself, maybe you're just going to be checked out, you know? Yeah. It's like you got to train to be a good or capable father,
Yes.
Whatever that is. You know, it's different. And I think it's also important to point out that, you know, the father that we always wanted to be is different for each man, you know, and that's okay. But just like Lee pointed out, is just being conscious of your fathering and how you show up.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah, so in a sense, like, there's no one standard for a good father. Like, I see so many good fathers out there, and I still cannot pick up, like, okay, maybe there are certain qualities, but I just wouldn't do that, because that would be limiting, right?
Yeah.
There can be 1,000 different men and 1,000 different good father, and they don't have to be the same, right?
Absolutely. Yeah.
No. What's your take on it, Hoover?
Yeah, go ahead.
What was the question? What is fatherhood? Or what's the question?
What does fatherhood mean to you, or
Does fatherhood mean?
Good father? What is good
what
father?
does a good father mean?
Well, listening to you, man, and having a chance to reflect on it, what I'm present to is being a leader, being an example. So, you know, our children are watching everything. So if we're aware of how we're showing up for ourselves, for their mother, or, you know, whoever the other parent is, yeah, I think lead by example. You know, one of the things that what I was thinking about when we were talking about kissing and everything is how I don't know where I got this from, but I just became aware it's important for me to kiss my wife in front of my daughter, like sometimes extra, like let me make a point, like, hey, I love your mom so much, you know. So some of it is just they'll catch me in these random moments, just being me, and you know, like ideally they just see honor and integrity. I'm not say do this and doing something else. So I think that's important. Do your word. And then the other is so the unconscious, everything is an important thing. And then consciously, what do I really want to guide? How do I want to guide and shape this human being? I think those two are important elements.
I love it. It's what I get is like, you have to have the conscious element, and you have to work on the unconscious element that you can't really control. And for those unconscious elements, you can't do it at the moment because you're not aware of it. So you have to work on it at a different time, or like at an earlier time. Like, if you're not calm, and if we're not calm or able to control our ego, and we don't work on that, we won't be able to control our ego when something happens. There's just no way, because you can't control it. We don't see it at the moment. But then there are certain elements of things we can, it's like, okay, I'm gonna do this. Like, I'm gonna make sure my children sees that I love my wife. I actually talked to my wife about the same thing. Like, we gotta make sure, like from time to time we argue, in front of the child, and like that's okay. Like, heat of the moment, we don't agree with something, we can talk about it, but we just gotta make sure that they also see that we fucking love each other, because sometimes we don't do that. We after they go to sleep, we go out and we take a walk, and they don't see that. So I'm like, they also need to see the side that we fucking adore each other, so they get that we're good, we're tight. And yeah, that's working well.
I think you brought up a really good word there, Hoover. You said example, and you're the one that Hoover. I mean, Chu. You said you were the one that said conscious, right? And I think those are so important, because before I did the men's weekend, my kids were already they were already 5.5, or almost 6 and 4, pretty much almost 6 and 4. And that I was doing it pretty much unconsciously, looking back, because the questions that we're talking about now, these deep soul searching questions right now that I ask myself every single day, pretty much, and it never really crossed my mind. Like, so sometimes you'll see a movie and then you get a flash. Oh, I want to be like this father, but it was never this deep and this caring and this much give a shit about, that I constantly think about what I got to do and how I got to do everything, and who I want to be, and which is what led me to my purpose, right? And my purpose, I put it out there so many times, is just to be an example to be an example to my children by having the balls to follow my dream, and you said it right there. That's why when you said example, it just clicked, like, to be an example to my children, and to follow my dream is part of that for me. To be the man I always wanted to be is part of following my dream, and so I think consciously all that just works perfectly into my purpose, and that's what I've been working on for years now. So I appreciate that, Hoover and Chu. I think we're getting on the right point here. Not that there's any singular point, but but that was good, man.
Yeah. Something else I'd like to add is when I was entering fatherhood, one of the things I was thinking about and talking to my wife about is that I see our role as parents as being guides to our children. So a lot of times parents are like, do it my way, like this, and really we're just guide. This is a philosophy we take on to some degree. Be a guide, create a safe space, so that this human being can develop and discover who they are and what their purpose is, and ultimately become independent and contribute to this world. What that looks like could be anything,
That's beautiful, man.
I love it. So much gentleness and respect for this young life. Yeah. And I bet your children will feel it, will feel the respect and caring. And I don't think they can, it's impossible for them to have a high self-worth, you know, impossible for them not to have a high self-worth just with a parenting style like that. You know, we're recently looking for a school for my son, and I visited the school yesterday. It's in the middle of a rice field. It's in the nature. I adore the school. I mean, it's just and I asked the lady in charge of the school. I said, what is the purpose of this? Like, it's kindergartens. I was like, what is the purpose of this kindergartens? Right? And she said, the purpose of this kindergarten is to for the kids, for the children here to grow a strong body so they can face all the challenges they'll be facing in the future. And we just gotta make sure they play a lot, eat a lot, and sleep a lot.
Oh, that's great.
And what it is not is not a preparation for elementary school.
Mm-hmm.
So we're not gonna be like teaching them like unnecessary lessons. And I asked her, how do you know if a kid is doing well in the school? Take a wild guess what her answer is. She said,
They're laughing and playing a lot.
That's one of it.
They get bigger.
That's one of it, but I think her answer is pretty profound. She said, if they can take a dump and sleep well in the school, it means they're doing well. Because she said, if a child doesn't feel safe, it's hard for them to take a dump at the school or sleep well during the break. I'm like, okay, never expected that, but I think that kind of makes sense.
Very simple. Yes.
So
that explains a lot. I didn't think it was a bad thing, but yeah, like my daughter, like just right on the front porch or even at our friend's house, she was like just right over here in the grass, like boop. And you know, I'm hoping it's pee, and sometimes it's not, and I'm like, all right, well, you're comfortable, that's cool, you know. And you didn't do it on the sidewalk, so now I understand. I got validation.
She feels safe.
Yeah,
she feels safe.
You know,
so it's a nice indicator for her friends, like where we're at other places too. She feels safe there.
Yeah.
Just like, be grateful I shit at your house.
Yeah.
Because I feel loved and welcome here.
Yeah, I might take that on.
His house, you say thank you. You know what, dude? That also goes to even not just kids, but it goes to adults as well. I know many of adults that cannot take a shit in public, right? They just won't. They can't. They're just scared of it. You know, they just go. My wife is one of them. You know, she just won't do it. She'll just wait no matter how long it is, and then just sit in the car and just, you know, just wait it out. I'm like, dude, we still got 30 more minutes. No, I can't. I won't. You know, and I know a lot of other friends too that just cannot do that.
Who? Why don't you name them as well?
Well, you know,
I'm just kidding.
Safe space for men. I'm not talking about women.
Well, I'm that guy who will hold my shit for 30 minutes. I get home because I have a bidet at home, and
oh well, yeah.
I just refuse to lower my standards to shit at a place that doesn't have a bidet.
Okay, so you just got high standards.
It changes your life. I mean, I you know, like, you remember at the height of the coronavirus?
I remember. We have one too.
right? I was like, no problem. I got bidets. You know, the worst thing worst, I clean my butt and I just get a hair dryer to dry my ass, and I don't need toilet paper.
Oh, yours doesn't have a fan?
It has a fan, but it's not as strong.
Okay.
Yeah.
Just checking.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember I was coming back and getting some toilet paper for our employees, and I was searching everywhere to get them, and I couldn't. So Veronica was just like, "Give them some of ours." I was like, "Yeah, we're not using it." You know, it was pretty cool.
It makes so much sense. I mean,
You know, I think it's important just for the listeners here. If you really haven't given it a good thought, seriously, if you want one thing that's gonna change your life outside of what is fatherhood from this podcast, consider getting a bidet. Change your life.
Change your whole family's life.
Yeah.
Your wife will love it. You know, you'll love it. I mean, I haven't.
They're not that expensive either now.
Right.
Technology is.
Yeah.
I haven't met a man, I don't know about women, that have used the bidet and hated it. I don't know anyone. Everyone just like, oh, this is the way to go. Welcome to fucking technology. I mean, welcome
It's
to
2020.
2020. Use the bidet.
Especially with everything going on in the world, the least you could do is give yourself the gift of a bidet with everything going on.
You're basically treating your dishes better than your ass, right? You fucking wash your dishes, or do you wipe your dish with toilet paper and put it into the rack and say, okay, good job I did today because I wiped my dish with toilet paper. That's clean enough for me. No, you fucking put it into a shower room in a dishwasher. You're basically treating your dish better than your ass. Like, doesn't make sense. Just that's the dirtiest thing, you know, is your butthole, and you just like, oh.
Well, now I'm the last of the badass motherfuckers that got a bidet now. So the trifecta, you know, the whole community right here. We're good.
We're good. It's catching on. It's catching on. It is catching on. This is a new, like, you know, if not now, Thanksgiving when there's the sales. You know, I recommend Toto from Japan. Toto. TOTO.
And I would recommend, they've got some really, really good one on Costco. Online, you can order.
Yeah.
I don't know what Toto is, but this one, they had like 4,000 reviews, 4.5 stars. Like your butthole sparkles.
Does it sing music to it?
Yeah, like you can customize it.
Really? It has music?
No.
Playlist?
I think the things to look for, since we're now telling people, a heated seat.
Okay.
And then it has warm water.
Okay.
You know, you can control the pressure.
Okay.
And then it'll go front to back at that sweet spot. You know.
Find a A spot.
And this ties into fatherhood, because sometimes we refer to our children as buttholes. You know.
I don't. Okay, but going back to the feature, I want to add one more to the list.
Yeah.
I want to add one that automatically lifts the seat when you approach. And goes back down when you. So.
Does it have a light in there so that you can get it in the middle of the night?
Yes, has a LED light. It's very gentle. It doesn't wake you up, but bright enough for you to see it. And I mean, it's not a problem in our family, but I can imagine that feature will save so many marriages, you know, for people who are still fighting, like where you squeeze the toothpaste or whether you lift the toilet seat. If you have a family still fighting around that, get it. Yeah. Saves the marriage. Yeah. Just program it that, you know.
Well, the thing is, she doesn't even have to know about that feature. Yeah. She could think you're always putting it down.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. Or automatically flush, but that's a more expensive features, which I don't think we need, like automatic flushing or, you know.
Well, my kids might need that. So that would definitely save some marriage issues there too. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. Let technology help our marriage.
Yes.
You know,
Absolutely.
I was just like, I'm like, I don't know how my parents kept their marriage without a dishwasher and washer and dryer. Just like, how did they do that? I don't know. But I'm just grateful that we have it. When my son like puked 3 times consecutively on his bed, and we have to wash the sheets, 3 sets of different sheets. It's like, thank God for the washer and dryer, because I don't know what's it gonna be without those.
Yeah.
Same thing for bidet. Yeah, go get one. We should have some bidet sponsor this podcast.
Yeah, next time, for sure. I mean, you could probably go and ask him right now, couldn't you?
Yeah, I'll just
Right here.
So you're not going to publish this amazing podcast until you get what you need.
Yeah.
I mean,
generational.
we can keep talking about it. You know, every time we get around, we'll just bidet. Finally, we'll get some sponsor for sure.
Next time we could probably even show the bidet.
Yeah, well, I'll make sure I split it 3 ways with you, man. We can upgrade our bidet after this.
Sure.
Yeah. First thing I'm doing is going to Costco for sure tomorrow.
Yeah, I would go online though. They might be out, you know, but it's next level. So, Chu, you had mentioned that you know, technology that saves marriages. Are there any other technologies that you're aware of that might help save the marriage? Because to the degree the marriage is strong, that's going to influence our fatherhood and the child's experience, right? So you said dishwasher, washer, dryer, bidet.
Yeah. like I'm serious with those. Like those, my washer, dryer, and dishwasher are in my daily gratitude list. I'm just like, I thank you so much for still working today, for never breaking, for always working hard, for produce fresh dishes and sheets and clothes to our family. I thank you for that. I do. Those are the 2 essential ones. I mean, everything else, I felt, you know, what do you men think? Those are the ones that's important to me, to our family.
Those are pretty damn good. A refrigerator is pretty fucking high up there too on my list. Just because I grew up without a refrigerator for 10 years.
Okay, yeah.
That part sucked. Flushing toilet, which is part of the thing, but just any flushing toilet is pretty awesome as well. But yeah, a refrigerator. God, I think I told you, man, on the last one, I grew up eating dried sardines and rice for almost a decade before coming to America.
It's a fucking amazing story, by the way.
And so because everything had to be dry, because there was no freaking refrigerators in the jungle where we were in the refugee camps in. So the refrigerator, the best thing ever invented for me. That's my number 1.
Wow.
Bar none. For sure.
Those are on my list. How about you?
One that I just thought of is a little device called a tile. You know, those little GPS things you can order.
Okay, I know what it is.
Things are lost. Yeah. We were having a strain in our marriage around keys and things being misplaced, and I'm just like, you know, it was starting to impact me because it's time to go, and then we couldn't find keys, and so rather than just try to change her, which is not the wise thing to do, I just surrendered to, okay, she's gonna not have the same standard around putting her keys away in the same place, things like that. So I got this little technology called a tile that it goes on to her keychain, and if she loses her keys, there's an app and it'll start to buzz or tell her where it is.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah, that was pretty cool.
Make it no problem instead of because I think what's underneath it is like, let's not, sometimes like we just have certain behavior it's impossible to change, right? Then why not to be so hard on that behavior rather than if you can find a solution for it, then just make it no problem. Oh, I found a solution for it. We're good.
Absolutely, yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
I like that. Yeah, I like that. Any last comments and you may want to bring? Or
There's one organic technology that I thought about that's very important that we just need to make sure is always functioning and ready to go.
what's that?
You know what it is.
Mine's always ready.
Do you tie a tile to that?
Never leaves me.
Always know where it's at. Always ready to go.
Yeah. Because it's an act of service. You know, you guys laugh, but this is service position. You know, this technology, it's been developed over hundreds of thousands of years, and it's passed on to us.
Yeah.
And it's a tool. You know,
I look at it like it's my duty to use that tool effectively and always be ready at a high level.
Well, I think if there's anything worth talking about it more about it is you mentioned the word service, right? And I think that's a big distinction on men who think about it as a service and men who don't, right? So would you talk a little bit more about that?
Here you go, honey. I don't know if I can talk about it seriously right now, but if I were to, I would say.
What do you say it's a service? What do you mean by it's a service?
Yeah, so.
What do you mean by service? Like, seriously.
Okay. What I mean is, well, you know, to serve the woman and serve the marriage, you know, there's just with you guys, I can't. It's because it's YouTube, you know? But, gosh, what is this? Who's our audience that's listening right now?
I have no fucking clue. Like,
so I think that the way to answer it is that there's different ways to show up in marriage so that the marriage works. And one of the ways that we need to show up is to take care of our wife or our significant other in a way that she feels loved and taken care of and nourished. And, you know, the sexuality and intimacy is a big part of it. I mean, it's yin and yang coming together. And I always joke with my single friends that get in the friend zone. I'm like, you know, what's the difference between you and this girl, this woman you're in the friend zone with and a girlfriend? You know, and they're like, huh? Like, you're actually having sex. You know what I mean? So, like, just there's an intimate part. Like, if you're really in a committed relationship, if you're in a marriage, that is a very important aspect of the relationship. Otherwise, you're in the friend zone. You know, this is the one person in your life that you get to choose to be in your innermost circle. And it's one of those areas where you can give them all of you, like everything. And in that you really get an opportunity to serve her and serve the marriage, and it's like a real beautiful manifestation, expression of the love in a way that can't be expressed with anyone else. And it also helps to get the dishes cleaned.
It sure does. There's a direct relation.
Hoover the lover.
Yes. Yeah.
I love it. You saved it. You saved it. Yeah.
Between how much sex I get and how much dishes I do. So I'm serving. I tell her I'm serving you, you know, and you're serving yourself, so that the dishes will get washed.
But I know what Chu is saying, though. A lot of times it becomes a selfish act for men, and that doesn't really fly for a long period of time when you're with one person. So it's one of those things where it's selfish, but also could be service. You know?
Yeah, it can be both.
Yeah.
Just it's about intention.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well said.
Yeah. The intention is, here you go. Here it is, right here. It's because I love you.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah.
Well said. You totally saved it. Yeah. And took it to the next level too. Beautiful. Oh, amazing. Beautiful. Beautiful.
That was beautiful, man. That was. It was completely true too. I mean, just speaking from my own experience, for years there, you know, it was for years when obviously when you just first get together, there was no need, there's no work involved, right? You wanted each other. There's no kids involved. Everything was great. And then, you know, for me personally, it became a selfish thing, right? Until I really, what we talked about, consciously and intentfully do it for the relationship. Her as, I mean, her to realize that I'm a man, and this is more of a like an animal thing for me, you know, for her to realize that, and for me to not just hey baby, you know, for me to actually service the relationship and the marriage by actually doing stuff for her and making her feel safe and making her feel loved and appreciated, so that she would be in the mood, so that I can get my my selfishness and she gets her service, you know. So it took me a long time to really get that. So that was pretty good, man.
That's brutal honesty, man.
That was good.
Beautiful. Yeah.
I don't know where you go from here, though.
I'll
tell you where I'm going.
Where are you going? Where are you going?
Actually, now I'm going to do the dishes because she's on bed rest.
All right. Beautiful. I love you too so much. This is
love
amazing.
You too, man.
Love you, man.
This is fucking amazing. I'm so happy I have the two of you.
And we'll work on the kissing thing next time.
We go right now. Come here.
Yeah. Straight lives.
Oh my God. All right. Thank you too so fucking much, and I'll see you guys. Don't log off. I'm just gonna stop the recording. All right, man. Till next time.